Welcome, guys. This is going to be fun. And we're going to do these every Friday now at 12. We're going to do it for about a half an hour. Maybe we'll do it for longer, but we'll see. But we get questions in the Facebook group all the time. And I really want to start, answering these questions directly and allow people to actually come on and ask me questions directly. And I just want to make myself, more accessible to you guys, and would love to, help you in your mobile home park journey because I made some mistakes. And, I could have prevented a lot of stuff. And, if I would have had a sounding board, which I did have someone that I could go to weekly to help them out. But would love to, assist you in your mobile home park journey. So we had some questions come through this week. And as we get more people on here, I will take your questions in a live format, which is more fun, by the way. First of all, I'm Derek Vickers. I'm the owner of the Mobile Home Park Investing Pros Group. Got over 2,000 lots, 43 parks. We've got a couple other under contract now. So, yeah, happy to be here with you and happy to help you in any way I can. All right. So, the first question we had here. So it says, I'm an owner of this is Doug. He was talking about, I'm the owner of a small park, Wyoming. I'm guessing that's in Wyoming. And considering building a new park, and I'm curious what states are most likely to allow mobile home parks. I'm living in Colorado, and they want no part of mobile home parks. Well, that's going to be different, right? It's more, I think, according to the local municipality than anything else. Like it's more to what they're going to do locally. I know in Tampa and Orlando, like there's no freaking way that you could develop a mobile home park. But I think in some rural places, they'll let you do it. And I think there's some being developed in Texas. There's some being developed in other rural parts of the US, but not that many, right? So that's going to be a local municipality thing. Like that's who I would go with to figure that out because they're going to be the ones, and you're going to have to make friends with them to get that across the finish line. And I don't know how easy that is actually going to be. So yeah, I mean, we don't do much development, so I'm not an expert on development. We've never done development actually, and I don't know if we plan to in the future. But yeah, I would just get with the local municipality and figure that out. Okay, so let's see. The next question we were asking: how many days of due diligence is standard for contract and buying a small mobile home park? Well, we try to get 40. I'll just tell you what we do. So we try to get 45 days of due diligence on every deal that we do. I mean, just because the 30 days goes by fast. Like it seems like a lot of time, but it's actually not. And it goes by fast because if you're really, let's say we put something under contract today, and 30 days would be March 7th, right? This is weekends too, right? So we really have 5 days next week, the week after that, 15 days. You've really got 19 days to work on it if we went under contract with something today, right? So that's not a lot of time. And you got to call the health department. You got to get the stuff from them. You've got to call whatever to get your documents. If it's private utilities, you got to do that. You got to schedule the inspections for the utilities. You got to schedule the inspections for the septics, the pump outs, and all the stuff you do. If you're getting quotes from contractors, you got to schedule those out, right? So it takes time. And 30 days, although you can do it in 30 days if you just jam through, I would suggest doing 45 days. And on a small park, maybe you're gonna have to do less. Mom and pop, a lot of times they're gonna say, hey, I bought the park with 15 days due diligence. Why can't you? We did that before, by the way. And it resulted in a big sewer issue that we didn't know about that we had to, run into and fix. So if they try to negotiate you to get lower time, I just wouldn't do it. I'm trying to get 45 days, and that's pretty reasonable, for all the reasons that I said. But I think that this question was from Alex Schmidt. So look, happy to help with any of that. Okay. So we had a person asking, someone was asking, that was a good question. So someone was asking, how are you planning to hike up lot rent for people on a fixed income? What happens if senior citizens can't pay the increase? Why are people with low income being targeted by mobile home park investors? Well, so look, there's two aspects to this, right? People that, you can look at it from the side that you want to give, people everything for free, right? Or you can look at it from the perspective of, hey, people have the opportunity to create what they want to create, and they can whatever. I'm not going to get into that. But really, rents in these parks, they have to come up, and there's really three reasons as to why that is, right? Because look, when a private investor or private equity company comes in to buy a park, like the rents have to come up, right? Mom and pop that have owned these parks historically, I mean, the rents have just been, very, very low, right? And like for a new investor to come in, right? Mom and pop never accounted for rising costs because they got the park essentially for free for nothing. So they're making money, right? You have to adjust rents to keep the park financially viable, right? And that's just the way it goes. Otherwise, you're not going to buy the park, right? Secondly, this is a big one. It's like deferred maintenance and rising costs. Because when I go in to buy a park, my insurance is going to probably double, maybe more, depending. My property taxes are going to double, triple, even quadruple in some cases, right? The infrastructure that hasn't been fixed in 30 years. The tenants' water smells like sulfur, or it stinks like their stuff, right? Like we've got to come in and fix that stuff and upgrade that stuff, right? So that's not, unfortunately, like in order to do that, we have to have more income coming in to pay for that stuff. Like I don't think there's anybody here that's just going to buy a park and just lose money on it. And like you are in this business for profit, right? For sure, but there are other factors to it as well. Like, look, our goal is at Victory Capital, we're doing clean, safe, affordable housing. Like we know that affordable housing is an issue, so we're going to come in and keep these parks from getting demolished. Because if we don't come in and fix these things, if mom and pop still owned it, then they're going to get shut down over time because the utilities are going to end up degrading more and more and more over time. And they're just not going to be there. They're going to get shut down. I mean, we bought a park in 2021 where the wastewater treatment plant it was an utter disaster, and they were on the verge of getting shut down. So we had to go in and put a bunch of money into it. We came in and spent 150 grand on the roads. We sided and skirted the houses. We put lights up. We cleaned up the landscaping. We put fences up. We put signs up. We got all the drugs out. We got all that stuff out. And, it's now a clean, safe, and affordable place to live. And we charge a higher lot rent there now because of that, right? And it's still the cheapest place in town by far. And I will say this, that tenants like the service that we provide when we go in, because when something does break, we do fix it and we address the issue quickly. But some people don't do that. Mom and pop didn't do that. I mean, we had a park that we had purchased before where they had an issue with their water smelling weird for a period of time. We just came in and fixed it. It took a couple weeks because we had to really figure out what was wrong, and we had to get a well servicer in there to do that. But they were like, "Oh my gosh, like that is fantastic, right? Hey, this is actually fixed now, and we're responding to your calls and we're picking up the phone, right? So this stuff has to be done, right? And it costs money to do that stuff, right? So it's like, okay. Now, and the third reason here, and I sort of mentioned this in the last one, right? If we don't like if the park owner doesn't increase rents to cover the costs for improvements, like all these parks are going to get redeveloped, and then these people are going to have to go find an apartment at $2,000 a month. That's just the reality of it, right? We can keep our rents at half of that, or a quarter of that, or wherever you're at. It's different per market. But we were looking. There was a park in I think down in Clearwater that we were looking to get some vacant homes out of. It was like a 150 unit park. It's a nice, affordable community. I think the rent there was like eight or $900. And the tenants got to know this one day that, hey, everybody has to go because the apartment building next door is expanding next door, and they bought the land and they're building another 300 or 400 units. 2,500 bucks a month, probably in Clearwater. 2,500 to 2,500 bucks a month. Now, maybe that would have happened anyways, but that can be prevented from happening by investing in the property, right? That can be prevented by making the property viable moving forward, right? And look, we work with people that, obviously you're going to add value if you're increasing rents. So I don't know what this thing is with the media. It's just so easy to bang mobile home park owners. It's just an easy target, and if you watch NPR all the time, which, we most recently saw where they're getting funding from. Not going to get into that, but they're going to have a slanted view on this. Like, not all private equity is bad. Like, not all of private equity is Blackstone or BlackRock or all the other, black PR you see on these companies. I'm not saying that they're good companies, right? But there are private equity companies that probably do more worse than good. I don't know, but private equity does bring a lot of value because they can take a distressed asset, whatever it is, inject capital into it, bring it back to life, right? Because the mom and pops that own these parks, like, they don't have the time and they don't have the energy and they don't have the resources to do it. So if they kept the park, it would keep going downhill. I'm trying to buy a park from a guy right now. He doesn't want to sell. He's getting very old and his park just keeps going downhill because he doesn't have the energy, the resources, and the time to invest in the property. So it's progressively getting worse and worse and worse. And that's what will happen if, you can't make the parks viable again. And, I used to be able, when I was in college, I used to be able to go to Taco Bell and McDonald's for like $5 and get a lot of food. I don't eat that stuff now. I try to eat a little bit more healthy than that. So I don't know what it is now. I think I picked up something for my wife and sister at McDonald's one time, and it's like a meal was like $10 now, right? So that price has doubled, but no one jams McDonald's for going up on prices. I mean, your phone bills go up, like, prices increase, and the reality is today prices have gone up on everything. We can blame whoever we want for that, but that's just the reality of the situation, or the mobile home parks, really wouldn't exist. Someone was asking opinion of value on a 50 pad park, full occupancy, collecting 25K a month, combination of park unattended on homes, small community, only 3,000 people in the city. Well, I'd have to look at that a little bit more. I'd have to look at that and get the numbers on that a little bit more. I don't know exactly what that would be, but if it's collecting 25 grand a month, 25,000 times 12, 35% expense ratio, that's 195 grand in NOI. Full occupancy. Yeah, I don't know. I just need more information. Because it depends on how much you're going to pay for that. If it's in a small community and you're paying a 5 cap, 4 million bucks, I would say no, right? But if you're, buying that at a 12 cap, that probably works, or even a 10 cap, or maybe even an 8 cap. I don't know what the market is. I don't know if what kind of value you can add in there. I don't know if they're under market rents, they're at market rents. I would have to know a little bit more about it. The price, really. That's like, just a little note here. Like, when you get good and you've looked at enough deals, like, you're going to know immediately if the deal's good or not. We went and saw a deal the other day that one of my acquisitions guys got. We walked into the park and I was like, I want this deal. We drove in and I said, yep, I want it. And that's just from seeing so many. But how did I know that? Well, one, I knew the price, right? I knew the price. I knew what was there. Number two, I knew a little bit about the park. It just felt right with the price. The price per pad was good. The market was good. The location was really good. It was city water and city sewer. And I was like, boom, I want this. Let's get a deal done. But then come to find out that the seller has some, ass backwards deal with the guy he bought it from. It's a mess, right? It's a total mess. So we're not going to do that deal because it's just too messy. It's just too messy. But yeah, look, if we can get some more information on this 50 pad park, yeah, I would love to take a look at it a little bit more. Let's see. Someone asked experience on lagoon systems. I don't have any experience on lagoon systems, but I've got, like, here's what I would say about private utilities. If you know what you're doing, right, and you get operators to do the proper inspections, you know what to look for. So if you're looking at a park with a lagoon, I know it's like heresy, around, or a cardinal sin to buy those. I think Frank, directs not to buy those, which is not wrong, by the way, because they are a pain with these private utilities. The private utilities work well and they're fine until they're not. And when they're not, and you get the agencies involved, it's not a 1 week fix. Like you got to get quotes, and it takes months and months and months and months and months to handle these things, and it's a pain. So that's one thing I would say. But if you can talk to someone that has experience with lagoons, and they probably have a due diligence list that you can look for, and they know what to look for, you may have a successful go at that, right? Because yeah, you can at least go down the due diligence checklist and figure that out. Because if you're just looking for parks with city water, city sewer, which is not, I'm not saying this is bad, but in the beginning, like it's going to be harder for you to find a deal if that's all you're looking for. If you're looking for a sub 2 deal with city water and city sewer with seller finance with 0% down, I mean, you're not going to find that many deals, right? So I would say, although I don't have any lagoons, I'm sure it's similar to the headaches with a wastewater treatment plant. Like when it works, it's fine. When it doesn't, it's a pain. But just know what you're getting into with that stuff. Like you got to know what you're getting into. I probably wouldn't recommend it for a first park, but if you're partnering with someone that knows, you could you could give it a roll. Let's see what other questions we got here. Someone was asking if anybody's built a park with raw land? No. Someone was talking about if anyone incentivized tenants to use autopay when paying for rent. So this is a good question, actually, because when you go into these parks, you're going to want to put these tenants on autopay. Like you're just not gonna. It's not as easy as it seems. What we've done historically is that, hey, we give them like a $50 discount if they pay online for the first 3 to 6 months to get them in the habit of doing that. I don't know how many people have it on auto pay. Like not a lot of people I think do. I think most of our people actually go and pay cash pay. It's where they go into Walmart or something and they pay cash or whatever they want to pay, and then it goes into our system as an electronic payment. But that's what we've done via incentives to get people to pay online. So Taylor mentioned I'm buying a small park that has 3 additional cleared acres to be developed. I plan to hold for 5 to 7 years to make improvements. As I take on the project, what would you say are the key things we need to focus on? Structure to force appreciation. While this is not my first real estate investment, it's my first mobile home park, and I would love any advice and feedback. Yeah, look, I mean, I would say I don't know how many lots this has or whatever. The cleared spaces to be developed. Like, just to be honest, like when we look at deals, like if they're like, oh, there's a plot of land to be developed, I'm like, okay, it means nothing to me. Like, I'm not going to do anything with it because it's a pain, it's a lot of work, it's a lot of stress, whatever. Some people do that though. I make sure that I buy parks that, hey, we don't have to develop and do this crazy value add that's going to take, a long time for us to add any value. But, in your question, it's like, hey, I would just focus on, hey, you're going in, you're going to stabilize the place. Like, what are people paying? Find out what they're paying. And you probably know this. I've got very little information on what you said here, but you got to focus on increasing the NOI. Like, where are you going to reduce expenses? Are you going to build back for water and trash and sewer? Can you fix the infrastructure? Is the infrastructure stable? Like, what can you do to make the infrastructure stable moving forward? Like, that's going to be important so you can have more consistent cash flow going forward. But yeah, that's really the main thing. You increase the NOI, and you can do that by raising income and lowering expenses. So is there an opportunity to fill any vacant homes there? Like in the immediate, like fill up vacant homes? I would convert all park-owned homes to tenant-owned homes, unless your park-owned home rent is 1,200 and the lot rent's like 300 in the market. I'd probably keep the extra income in that case. But if you're in a market where there's not that much of a difference, then I would convert. But our motto is always convert. We always convert. I mean, we wouldn't buy a park where the market lot rent's $250. So we wouldn't have that issue where the park and home rent was 1,200 and lot rent was 200. We wouldn't buy in that market. That's just not our game. So if that was the case, I might keep it park owned because that is a big difference in income. But like we're in markets where the rent is 800 or 900, park owned home rent is 1,200. I'm converting it. Like we convert, we're not in the park owned home business. We convert everything. So fill up vacant park owned homes, increase gross revenue, and then reduce expenses where you can at first. And then I would look at, potentially if you got some vacant lots, bringing in those and filling those up before you develop the land. I mean, developing the land, it just doesn't sound fun to me. I've dealt with cities for little stuff, and that's a big thing. So I can't imagine the headache and pain that would entail. Here was the question that somebody had. If you have a dumpster at your park, what are you going to do to keep the general public from trying to use it? Yeah, look, this is a tough one. This is a tough one because we've got some parks in some really urban areas, and we've got issues with trash like constantly. So, yeah, I would tell you to put cameras up. Like we have this issue in a park right now where we're putting cameras up, and that still may not solve the issue, by the way. It's hard. So cameras will help. Maybe you can go to individual containers, but the roofing guy that is an ass is going to come by at the end of the day and roll off his stuff into your dumpster, so he doesn't have to go dump, and it saves him $100 or whatever, $50, whatever it is, to go dump. But this is a problem. I mean, one of the things that you can do is get the tenants on your side to take a picture of the license plates and whatnot. But cameras, like we're putting cameras up now, and I'll let you know how that goes. But you gotta have real cameras because sometimes even if you put the dummy cameras up, maybe it'll work for a little bit, but somebody will find out that they're dummy cameras, and then they're still gonna do it. Yeah, they're still gonna do it at that point. But that's a good question because that's a problem. And that's one thing before you buy your first park. Like, look, don't let the trash keep you from buying your first park, but like that's going to be something you got to deal with and figure out. Okay. Someone was asking, what's everyone doing for new mailboxes? I currently have a few sets of cluster boxes that are old, beat up, and need to be replaced. Would you go back to new cluster boxes, or what would you do? Yeah, look, I love the cluster boxes. You can buy them. They're kind of expensive. I mean, I think the stand of like 16 is like maybe 3 grand or something on mail. We go to mailboxes.com. They should give me an affiliate link for that. They look great. They look great. And we have people, our construction guys will go and build a little awning on top of it. And, it looks nice and the tenants love it, especially when you're going from the standard, beat up mom and pop mailboxes that they haven't changed in forever. And some of the mailboxes don't even have, doors on them, which I don't think I think you're supposed to have, it's probably not up to code or standard or whatever that is. You're supposed to have a closed mailbox. So yeah, I just we like the cluster mailboxes. They look nice, and it's a simple fix, but it's not as simple to get them transitioned over as you would think. Okay. Well, look, guys, we'll be back here next Friday. If you don't get to catch this live, you can shoot questions to us in the Facebook group, and I'm happy to answer them. And yeah, look, I'm here to help you, and then you can catch this recording later. So Derek Vickers, yeah, leave us a question, follow me, and you can check us out at victorycapital.com. We will see you next time. Go freaking crush it today and make some calls and get some shit done and move the ball down the field. If you're not moving the ball down the field, you're going backwards. Like, it's pretty simple. Move the ball forward every day. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you. Peace.